everybody. Welcome. The Vikings were not able to avenge the 2015 postseason disaster at the Gophers Stadium when Blair Walsh went wide left from 27. They fall 24-13 in the preseason opener to the Seattle Seahawks. I'm your humble host, Ted Glover. My partner in crime, where is he? He's over there somewhere. Is Drew Bunning, co-host for Vikings Report, Drew and Ted. Normally the third wheel at our tricycle of ridiculousness, Christopher Gates, cannot join us this evening. He is responsible and has a real job, so he couldn't be here. But Drew and I will try and carry on best we can. Drew, how are you?
Welcome, late nighters. What the hell time is it? It's after midnight?
Yeah.
I'm used to the California time, so this is a little bit different for me. But welcome, everybody. Thank you for the ones that are sticking around for the I know it's late night and you got to get to bed, but we're all excited about the Vikings starting out the season, and it's good to be here, Ted Glover. What'd you think about that all together here?
Yeah, I gotta say I'm not too terribly irritated with the game. I'm like, normally 24-13 loss would bum me out, but hey, it's preseason. So I thought there were a fair amount of positive things to take away from that. But before we get going on the game, real quick reminder, if you're a fan of the Minnesota Vikings, you like to talk Minnesota Vikings, head on over to purplepainforums.com. They are our official internet affiliate, if you will, for talking Minnesota Vikings stuff. You can find our stuff over there. You can interact with me and Drew and Ruby, who's in the background. Hello, Ruby. How are you? I hope you're doing well this evening. We're also going to be giving away a prize later on tonight, like we always do on our post-game shows.
Yeah.
You can find our prize vault. Drew and Ruby have done a great job of restacking that or restocking it. You can find that prize vault over on VikingsReport.com. All you have to do is enter a comment in the live chat here, and you'll be entered. Ruby's going to spin the Toons' Wheel of Destiny at the end of the show. We might even give one. You know what? I'll tell you what. We're going to give away a prize here in just a minute. I'm going to try and figure out what we're going to do, but we're going to give away a prize here in just a minute, besides one at the end of the show. But with all that out of the way, Drew, give me your initial impressions of tonight's preseason game.
Well, first off, I had to keep the roster in front of me, Ted. That's a lot of weird numbers. I had to keep looking guys up. Who's 27? Who's 43? Yeah. I was overall. I was pretty happy with it. I'm pretty happy. I mean, you look at a lot of preseason games. I don't look at the score usually during a game. You know, back in the 70s, I was on the edge of my seat for preseason games. Gotta win them. When you're a kid, you know you gotta win them all. So I don't really care about that. Of course, the one thing I want are no injuries. You don't want anybody getting hurt, and I think we came out pretty clean on that.
Yeah,
Kwenku got a little banged up, but you gotta love the Vikings first half. Besides that first opening drive, they kicked it in. I mean, I know it's all the number twos against the number twos and all that, but you still got to evaluate them. And the run defense was stout. I think the cornerback group really showed tonight. The cornerback group is not going to be as easy as we said last week with picking guys out. Wide receiver group looked really good. Jalen Reagor caught all his passes. All four of his targets he caught.
Yeah.
I thought they pressured the quarterback well. I thought the linebackers played well. Pace is going to be a star in this league. Telling you right now, he's a smart player. He's got a huge motor. Pace was really impressive. And how about Chandler in the backfield?
He looked really good. I would say out of the big winners for tonight for the Vikings, if you're playing the winners and losers game, I would say Ty Chandler and Alvin and Pace. And then I thought Jalen Reagor had a couple of really nice catches that may have put him maybe safely in the barn in terms of making the roster. There was talk earlier in camp that he might be on the roster bubble, if you will.
Yeah, and he looked more comfortable in there tonight. I don't know what's going on.
That's what she said.
What's up with Reagor running the right routes? I mean, what's happening with that guy?
I don't know. I am not used to this happening for Jalen Reagor. This is a strange new world. And I don't know how to act, to be quite honest.
Ted.
Yeah.
Ted. I tell you one thing that's been solidified. Wang Wu is the number 2 on the depth chart. He ain't number 2 anymore.
No.
Chandler has that spot as far as I see.
Yeah, I would agree. I think Ty Chandler nailed down running back 2 behind Alexander Madison. And that kind of goes back, if we talked winners and losers, or if we talked winners, we need to talk losers. And I don't think Dwayne McBride had a particularly good game. I thought Lewis Cine had a great play at the beginning of the game. He had a closed really fast on Jackson Smith and Jigba, Ohio State legend.
Oh, is that him in there?
Yeah, had that first pass when he made that tackle for only like 2 or 3 yards when it looked like Smith and Jigba might be able to turn up field and make a good play out of that. Cine stopped it cold, but after that, he just
Youngstown State, dude. Come on.
Yeah, and I think after that he kind of struggled. He seemed a little bit slow.
Ted,
the ball. I don't know.
No, I agree. Jason put a good message in here that the special teams look like a hot mess.
Yeah,
the special teams looked bad tonight. They're gonna have to work on that, but it's the first preseason game. And as I'm watching the fourth quarter, I'm watching Hall he struggled. But he looked exactly like I thought he would look at his first preseason game out of college.
Yeah.
And Ruby's telling me during the game when we're watching, she goes, there's people on Twitter ripping on the guy. And I'm thinking, first game. Why are people on Twitter ripping a guy in his first game? I mean, he has never played in this league. This isn't BYU when there's a bunch of it's just sandlot football and you're throwing it all over the field. I thought his escapability looked good. I would have liked to have seen him turn up field because he's dangerous with his feet. He has the shuffle with his feet.
Yeah.
And that's how he became successful at BYU is he was so deadly on his running that they had to start covering the short zones and he wouldn't get any pass pressure on him. But he struggled just like I thought he would struggle. He's got a long way to go. But if you're on Twitter ripping Jaren Hall, you don't really have much sense. You don't really know much about football, and you're basically a loser. So I don't mean that in a bad way.
Spicy right out of the gate.
Why would you be doing that, Ted? What is wrong with these Twitter? You're on Twitter. I'm not on Twitter. But people are on there ripping him. Do they realize it's his first game?
Twitter is the most instant reaction place ever. It's terrible.
I mean, guys are going to struggle. Yeah. Rookies are going to struggle, dude. It's embarrassing to go on Twitter and post that the quarterback sucks. Learn, educate yourself. Get off the meth and educate your ass.
There have been some comments coming in. We were talking winners and losers. He wasn't the first guy to mention it, but let's see. And a couple guys mentioned how good Jordan Addison looked with that toe drag catch. And there were people on Twitter complaining, like, what a coaching failure by O'Connell. How come he didn't challenge it? I'm like, oh, for Christ's sakes, you really want to waste that extra 5 minutes of your life on a preseason game for a coach challenging a freaking catch? And I don't know. It was a catch. I think in the regular season, he definitely would have challenged that. And I think it would have been reversed, and it would have been a catch.
Exactly. That's what message I got from our buddy Rhino Johnson from Vikings Uncensored.
Yeah, Stephen Hilkson, Addison's toe drag non-catch.
They would have reviewed that in the regular season. I don't know. I watch preseason. You're looking for continuity. You're looking for how much fire guys have, how they're getting to the football, how they're playing the roles they're supposed to be playing. I thought the Vikings defense and offense in the first half had some jump to it. I mean, they're actually tackling people when the first guy was tackling people. I didn't know what I was looking at.
The Vikings defense in this preseason game put more pressure on the quarterback and blitz more than Ed Donatell's defense did the entirety of 2022. I was so impressed with the aggression. He and that aggression caused hurried throws. It caused the quarterback to get flushed out of the pocket. I thought the run defense looked particularly good
Oh yeah,
when the
yeah.
first and second team guys were in. Um, so I think and you're like even in the third quarter, Brian Flores is showing a bunch of looks and a bunch of fronts, and guys are charging the line and then dropping back, and I'm like, if I'm Pete Carroll, I'm thinking, what the hell is he doing? It's the first preseason game. Chill, man. Just chill out.
I
But
like it.
it was impressive. I liked it a lot. I was very impressed, and I think the defense. We have all said the defense is going to be better because it just possibly can't get any worse. I've said that for like 2 years in a row. The third time is a charm. I feel, but I think it might even be better than we are anticipating.
I think that I would agree with that. I think the cornerback group's a lot better. From what I was really, really excited. I was seeing all these different guys making plays. It was, Blackman was right. How about that play that Mary Jane Joewan Williams made in the end zone when he tipped that ball away at the end of the third quarter?
Yeah, that was a good play.
What a great effort,
Yeah,
and
good play.
I think we're on our way with the defense. I think it turned around, but you can definitely see that the defensive coordinator is different, Ted.
Yeah, it's very much night and day difference from last year, and
I don't think
that's good.
Donatel cared how much he got out of people, but I think Flores has a higher standard, and they're a little bit more scared of him.
I think so, and I think I think it was Paul Allen that was saying, and I don't know if you guys if you live in Minnesota and you got the local broadcast, you get Paul Allen for all the preseason games. For those of us that don't, we have to watch it on the NFL Network. And what they do is they play one half of one team's preseason crew and the second half of the other team's crew. And they started out with the Seattle crew, and brother, those guys were terrible. I mean, like it was
That one
Michael.
guy yelling. I let 3 plays. I had it on mute. That one guy was screaming about this is a linebacker, and it was annoying.
I think Michael Bennett and Michael Robinson.
It was terrible.
Might have been doing a little of the, I don't know, wacky weed or something. They were just terrible. And then they said they had technical difficulties to switch over to Paul Allen and Pete Persich. And Paul Allen said Paul Allen said at one point, Brian Flores treats a first-year undrafted free agent the exact same way he treats a 7 or 8 year NFL veteran, and that struck me because not a lot of coaches, not a lot of people do that, and no matter what profession you're in, you kind of curry favor towards people you've known a while or people you've been around and people that have a solid reputation.
Right.
And I think that goes a long way to Flores getting buy-in from his team and getting guys wanting to perform because I think they all feel they have a legitimate chance to make the roster.
I think that's a fair point. A couple of guys I wanted to, Chandler had 15 touches for 80 yards. That's not too shabby. He runs really hard. I think he's got that vision thing down, but he's got to extend his vision to where the secondary and the linebackers are, and he's going to be a good running back. This is good practice for him. These reps are important for Chandler. He's going to be a big part of the running game, I think, Ted.
One thing I really like about Ty Chandler is when he gets the ball, whether he gets it out of the backfield or he catches a pass out of the backfield, is that he goes north and south right away. He doesn't really, and I that goes back a little bit to your vision. I think maybe as he gets more experience, he could maybe take a step, kind of figure out where the play is developing and go to where the yards are. But I like his instinctive ability to just get the ball and go north south and get as many yards as you can. That
looks very confident when he was
so many guys, just stutter step and try and wait for something to develop. And what could be a 3 or 4 yard gain is now a 2 or 3 yard loss. Last year, the Vikings led the league in negative yards or rushes for negative yards, and I think Chandler is going to be a big reason they aren't even close to leading the league in that this year.
Right. Defensively, I wanted to point out, first off, we got a special dude with Ivan Pace Jr. He is going to be the best undrafted free agent pickup by any team this year by halfway through the season.
You mentioned Twitter. Almost everybody on Twitter tonight, at one point or another that I was following or I saw on my timeline, was saying, "How did this guy go undrafted?"
Everybody was scared of the size.
That's what she said.
It's a size. It's not. It's not the.
All right, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Where does that go? It's not the size of the dog in the fight, Ted.
The size of the fight, the dog.
That's right. And pace is always around the football. Huge motor. Plays with. Talk about playing with confidence. Talk about a guy that I like. These players that look like they want to tackle. Like Scott
Yes.
Steadwell wanted to take every tackle he could. He liked the contact and the tackling. Pace is just learning still. Him and Asamoah, they might just be they're hooking onto something special there. What about Luigi Villain?
I thought he was putting a lot of pressure on the quarterback early. He was in the backfield a lot. I was really happy to see
good.
that. Yeah, he did.
Forced fumble. He had a sack.
Yeah, he did. He did. A couple guys are talking about pace and Raymond Hoagland, one of our OG fans. Raymond's been around since day one. He said,
What
"Looked
up,
like
Raymond?
They were running the ball pretty good on the left side." What were your thoughts on the offensive line overall? I thought.
No, I don't ask for my thoughts on that.
Oh, well, it's too late. I already have.
I have a big concern with our depth, Ted, on the offensive line. The defense, those are all depth guys we watched tonight. There is a lot to be excited about the defense. We haven't even ran the starters out there yet. And look at the depth. Look at some of the players on defense. This team is going to be top 5 next year and the year after. They're going to have their time playing together. They're going to be ready to play. But that offensive line, every guy looked soft in there. Who's that Ali guy, Ted? He's not good.
I don't think he's going to make the final 53. I mean, Oli Udo looked like he struggled tonight. Brad Marin says the whole line was a dumpster fire. I agree for the most part. I thought they settled down a little bit in late first quarter, early second quarter. Nick Mullins had some time.
Well, Nick Mullins was moving the ball because he's more experienced than Hall.
Yeah.
They weren't even blocking for Hall. I don't know why people on Twitter are ripping Hall when he had pressure all over him. It's his first game. I would have liked to have seen him run a little bit more of the east and west rather than north and south, but I have really nothing good to say about the offensive line tonight, Ted.
Yeah. Vicologist says his thought on the offensive line is that he thought the Vikings should have signed Dalton Risner yesterday. You think that might be in play now because Ed Ingram didn't look good?
That's a good take.
Only Udo struggled. Yeah, I might be something worth exploring. You think?
I do. I think that guy is. And people saying, well, he has to come in and prove himself. He's the best guard on the team, and he lives in Denver right now. He's better than everybody on earth. I think they should go out and get that guy. They need. I mean, what depth guy do you stood out tonight?
Nobody, honestly.
I mean, they were getting beat on every play. Around the edges, up the interior. I mean, it was. I think we did a little change up in the play calling in the first half when we started moving the ball. And Mullins, the old Mullet was making some nice passes there. That one he threw to the back of the end zone, and then the one to set up the touchdown, and then the touchdown itself.
Had the one to Rieger, that set up the touchdown, and then that high toss to Nick Muse that Muse went up and got, which was a hell of a throw and catch, I thought.
And I think Mullins is a usable backup quarterback, Ted. He can win games. He can win you games if you have to, but you just want a guy as your backup quarterback that gives you a chance to win. Sean Mannion gave you no chance to win.
Correct.
Mullins does. I have a question for you now, Ted Gleva.
Oh, what is your question, sir?
What the hell is going on with Andrew Booth? Is he still learning, or do we? I don't know. I mean, they're all still learning. We got a very young team, Ted, but he seems to make a lot of mistakes.
He got burned badly for that touchdown, and he was playing against third-team guys. And he was, a second-round pick last year or first round?
I think
he was
either first or second.
No, he was second-round guy.
Okay.
People were saying, is Booth even going to make the final 53? I don't see him getting cut just because he was a second-round pick in Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah's first draft class. Nick Howard says Booth doesn't make this team. Write that down. I think he I think he does just because of his high draft pick status last year.
Those high
But
draft guys get a longer leash.
they do. Yeah. Yeah. But he has not played. I will agree with Nick that he has not played like he has deserved a roster spot so far.
That's right. He's right.
I
He
mean,
is right.
Jalen Williams outplayed him. Caleb Evans, I thought looked good. I feel bad for Booth because I really thought he was a guy that could be one of those dudes that could make an impact on the Vikings defense.
Maybe Vicologist is right. Look at that.
Yeah. Yes,
Team
he
needs to quit
drafting.
drafting corners.
Yeah.
And just keep getting Duke Shelley. Get these free agents to come in.
Yeah.
I don't. They're jinxed at corner. They haven't. Jeez. When's the last really good corner they drafted? Rhodes, and then he fell apart.
Yeah, probably.
Carl Lee.
Chris Cook.
Maybe Vicologist is right. Remember Antone Winfield, free agent? Go get guys like that. I don't know. But they've had a lot of busts. And I don't want to say Booth is a bust, but he looks a step behind, Ted, like he's not sure of what he's supposed to do. He looked like that last year, too.
Same with Lewis Seen to an extent. I think Lewis Seen's speed and ability is there. I mean, I was kind of worried about that after he had that gruesome ankle injury last year. But he looked good athletically. I just think the mental part of the game he's still trying to catch up with. Booth, man, I don't know. It wasn't.
It's concerning.
It is, yeah. I think it's officially concerning.
Is that the biggest concern that you see on this team? So I mean, we can't. Like I said, it's the first game, so individual play or overall. I mean, the defense looked fantastic tonight. For
the most part, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and somebody just asked a really good question. Brad Morin, if Booth goes on the practice squad, does he stay there? No, and Vicologist answered, and I agree with him. He's like, no, somebody would pick him up. I think that would happen too.
Because he was a high draft pick.
Yeah, and people are thinking, everybody thinks, well, he's a second round pick, so he's got talent. Let's see what we can get for him, or see if we can get some production.
Same reason we picked up in Kiel Harry Sphincter. That's why we picked him up.
He had a nice catch tonight too.
He did, but he also had that fumbled punt. That was him, wasn't it?
That was
85.
That was Thayer turning your playbook at Thomas. He is now long for the Minnesota Vikings.
Undrafted Thayer Thomas?
Yeah, undrafted free agent.
Yeah, him and that corner, J-Ron or
Jalen Williams.
Remember he got all messed up on that long touchdown pass. That guy threw it up there, and he looked like he fell down and tripped over his own feet or something.
Oh, no, you're thinking of number 25. That was.
No, it was 27 who's stumbling around out there.
Oh,
He's
I thought it was
turning
Theo
their
Jackson.
Playbook too. There's some guys that are going to turn in their playbook. But.
Yeah, on that one touchdown, it was Theo Jackson that fell down, and then Kalen Barnes that missed the tackle, or maybe it was Booth that missed the tackle.
What about the dude that made the one-handed pick, Jalen Williams? I think.
Yeah, that was a good play. I mean, he's a guy that's outplaying Booth as well. Evans is outplaying Booth. I just don't see him. I don't know about Booth, man. It's worrisome.
The thing I'm really impressed with Flores is when you see a defense that's not sure what to do in the scheme, they overall look slow when they don't understand what they look slothy and slow. They're slow getting to the ball. Those guys tonight look like they knew their job role. They knew where they were supposed to be on the field, and they were moving fast. That's a really good sign for learning, especially the depth guys. They were all over the field, Ted. So it wasn't like they were – I mean, they made some miscues, but overall, I think the Flores scheme is going to kick in. I said it's going to take like 5 weeks, so we better win a lot of games early. But I think it's going to be learned quicker than that.
So Vicologist has another good comment, and that's like at least 3. So, Ruby, I think he deserves a prize. Vicologist, congratulations. Get a hold of Ruby at Vikings Report Drew and Ted at gmail.com. He asks, is Booth going to be another Dantzler? I think that's we're close to that being a legitimate question. I mean, I hate being very reactionary like we are right now, but you have one season under the belt where he didn't produce. He was injured most of the year, and then he doesn't get to the first team in training camp. And then when he does get on the field in the first preseason game against second and third and fourth teamers, he looks bad.
You know, it's he's living off that high draft status right now. But when that credit runs out, you don't have nothing left.
Yeah.
When your credit runs out, you're just hoping somebody picks you up because you're a second round pick or a high pick. Or, I mean, he was even talked about by a lot of draft experts as a first round guy.
Yeah.
I'm concerned. I want to see a lot more of him in the preseason. I hope he can play like 3/4 of a game. And then on top of that, he gets injured a lot. So we'll see what happens with Booth. But
Yeah. It's
um,
concerning.
one thing I wanted to mention, I noticed about. Oh, first off, we got to give Josh Oliver a shout out on that pancake block in the first quarter when he just ran over that guy.
Yeah.
That was really nice. I like Hall came off the field on one of those series he had. Like I said, he struggled tonight,
Mm-hmm.
and he started talking back and forth with O'Connell.
Mm-hmm.
You could see him walking up the sidelines, chatting back and forth about what he sees or what he saw, rather than just going to the sidelines and sitting down, putting a towel over his head.
Yeah.
Guys who ask questions like that are the guys that end up getting it in the end. I don't know what we're going to get with that guy, Ted, but there's something about him. He's one of those guys where one day he's just going to get it and he's going to go off.
I'm not gonna crucify the kid on his very first NFL action. Like you said, he's never been in the NFL before. It's his first game. You're. I mean, heck, even C.J. Stroud. If you watch the Texans and Patriots game earlier, he looked kind of shaky.
Right.
I just don't. I'm not going to put any stock in this right now.
He's got a long way to go. Long way to
he
go.
does.
And he's not going to play this season.
No, he's got to sit on the bench for a year behind Kirk and Nick Mullins. Learn from those guys, and if he plays, it would only be in mop up time.
You know,
the Vikings are winning by 5 or 6 scores or losing by 5 or 6 scores.
He seems to have the characteristics or like the body language of like Rich Gannon. Remember when he was a rookie?
Yeah.
Gannon was always taking off out of the pocket 2 seconds after he got the hike. After you snapped it to him, he'd run out of the pocket, run around everywhere.
Yeah.
Gannon ended up getting it. He ended up being a pretty good quarterback. But when he started, he was like a baby cow or a baby horse being born. He was like tripping all over himself. So
Steve Younginger, if I pronounced that incorrectly, my apologies, Steve. He said Booth is giving Wayne's vibes, as in Trey Waynes. And then, Vicologist says Waynes was never this bad. I thought Trey Waynes was a very serviceable guy. If we could get,
dude, that's Denver Sox fan, Steve Younginger.
Oh, hey, Denver. If the Vikings could get Trey Waynes level production out of Andrew Booth Jr. right now, I'd be good with that.
Yeah. Dude.
I don't know, man.
Andrew Booth is making Trey Waynes look like Lem Barney. I mean, come on.
Lem Barney.
Remember that guy? 4 picks a game. He was really good.
Yeah, and as Ray Hoagland says, Jaron Hall is wearing Rich Gannon's number 16.
I never thought of that. That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so much different at BYU. Like I said, after we drafted him, I did a draft write-up on him. After we drafted him, I went back and watched the tape, a lot of his tape, Ted, and his quarterback numbers. I mean, every week, 400 yards in the air and like 150 rushing. I mean, it was crazy stuff. But his running set up his passing, and he had like 12 seconds to pass. He's learning that this is a different league. This isn't BYU. Or the MEWAC, whatever they're playing in over there.
It's not.
There's something about him, though. I can't put my finger on it, but there's some kind of Rich Gannon thing going on with that guy where he's going to be pretty good one day.
Okay. So. I hope it's while he's still on the Vikings and not after the Vikings ship him off to Kansas City and then Oakland, where he becomes league MVP.
Well, he's got the whole season to learn from a very good, skilled quarterback.
Yeah.
He's got on the sidelines, you learn a lot more than being out there running around, running him into the ground like Johnny Manziel. And he's got another camp to go through next year. We'll see what happens. I can't guarantee he's going to be a future franchise guy, but there's some things he's going to struggle. It's his first game.
Yeah.
The Vikings have a lot to be excited about with this team, Ted. And we weren't even looking at any starters tonight.
No,
those are all.
Yeah, great point. I was going to say that. I was very impressed with the Vikings, both on offense and defense, for the most part. And the main guys, Justin Jefferson didn't play, Kirk Cousins didn't play, Alexander Madison didn't play. Most of the guys, starters on defense, didn't play. I feel pretty good about where this team is sitting at right now.
It seems like the Vikings have a knack for getting better free agents than people they draft.
Yeah.
Look at Tonga. That guy's good. I'm excited about where this team's going. We always talk about depth on Vikings Report, Ted. We always do.
It's
Because
key.
during the course of a season, no team is healthy all the way through the course of a season. Some people that I know that I talk football with believe me, tell me that depth is how you win titles. Because the guy you're bringing in is just as good as the guy that went out, rather than being a weak spot. So I'm happy about the depth, except for the O-line. They're pretty stacked at tight end. Tight ends look good tonight. They shared the ball a lot, threw it around. The offensive line, I'd go get Dalton Reisner. I would.
Yeah, I think they got to look at something. Now, Bradbury didn't start, and maybe that had a factor. I think Austin Schlottman was starting. But yeah, O-line is worrisome.
I mean, if you brought Reisner in, he would start at left guard, Ted. That would make Cleveland your first option at guard in case a guard needs to go out, and Cleveland can also play left tackle. He's a swing guy. So that'd be good. Right now, they don't have anybody. I mean,
I don't think they do that. I think they would. I don't know. Because Ed Ingram didn't look good. He had a couple of. I think the first one or two series he looked okay, and then he just kind of struggled like he did last year. I don't know. I'm putting a lot of this off on the first preseason game.
Sure.
Let's not freak out just yet. But offensive line depth, and if Andrew Booth is this guy that we saw tonight, then cornerback is kind of an issue for me as well.
So much to be excited about with the linebacker position, and see which running backs will emerge. I was happy with this opening game.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like in the past, our opening preseason game, we have 25 penalties, 4 fumbles. I mean, just a bunch of blocked punts. I mean, we have a bunch of problems. They came out tonight and looked like they're ready to play. Everybody was in position. I was happy with it, Ted.
I thought they were kind of sloppy with penalties, but I'm not going to lose my mind over that again. It's a preseason game.
They had 5 or something the whole game.
Yeah,
maybe 7 or something. I can't remember.
But all in all, I thought the good. Yeah, I thought all in all the good outweighed the bad. To be honest with you,
definitely did. And Ryan Wright had a coffin corner kick.
He did. He absolutely did. All right, folks, look, it's getting kind of late. I got to get up and go to work in about 5 hours or so.
Damn.
Ruby, are you there?
Hey, how many people did we get in there tonight, being it's 1 a.m?
Oh, we got over 100 people in the chat room right now.
Yes, thank you, everybody. That's great. I appreciate everybody showing up.
I'm here.
Hi, Ruby. How are you?
I'm good.
All right, you ready? So, what did you like? Did you think the Vikings looked okay tonight?
Yes. Yes and no.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
What did you like and what didn't you like, Tunes? This real quick.
I loved Ty Chandler. I loved Pace. What I didn't like, the O-line. The second O-line. I think the first one was okay.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair.
That's good. Good breakdown.
All right, are you ready to spin the Toons' Wheel of Destiny for the prize of the evening?
I love the Wheel of Destiny.
Let me add one name that just came in.
Who is that?
Tommaso, it says.
When you spin it long and hard.
Will not say. I'm not say it. I'm not gonna say it.
All right, can you see it?
Yeah, sure can.
All right, here we go.
That biatch. Sound effect?
You can hear it?
Yeah.
Oh, Denver Sox fan. What's the prize tonight? Denver, you know the drill. Yeah, get a hold of Ruby at Vikings Report, Drew and Ted at gmail.com. She'll give you a link to the prize vault. Pick out a prize, and we'll get it headed out your way.
Who was the first winner? Oh, Vicologist.
Yeah, Vicologist. Yeah, he's a good follow on Twitter. If you don't, that's his Twitter handle. It's at Vicologist too. So if you don't follow him on Twitter, he's a good
I noticed
good purveyor of Vikings knowledge.
week to week, Nick Howard, we have a lot of people who give these really, really educated, interesting. They're big fans. You can tell they're big fans, and
Yeah.
I appreciate them following the show and supporting us. All you people, everybody out there in Denver won something, so there we go.
Yeah. So look, we're gonna cut it a little bit short tonight. We usually go for an hour, but look, we gotta get up and work and all that stuff tomorrow. Drew, final thoughts on preseason week number 1.
Football is here. Kind of start when preseason hits, Ted, game 1. It's kind of like the journey is begun.
Yeah.
Like you said it best. There's a lot more to be excited about and to like tonight than to be negative about. I don't think I'm going to go on Twitter and rip people apart that have played one game in the NFL. But that, fans are fans. We talked about that the other day. Fans are fans. The officials. I'm happy with it. I'm looking forward to the next 3, and then in 30 days we're going to do it for real.
Yeah.
I'm happy with
too.
it. I'm happy with it, and I'm excited for the future for the Vikings. And I'm excited for this show because we have the best hosts in the business.
I'm mediocre at best, but thank you. Unless you're talking about Toonses, then you're absolutely right. Look, I thought it was a good start. The scoreboard didn't show it, but when the first and second teams were out there playing against Seattle's first and second teams, they were winning. They had more positive plays than negative plays. Saw a lot of good stuff from young players like Pace, Luigi Villain. And I love this new aggressive kind of hellfire swarming defense that Brian Flores is getting ready to trot out. I think come week 1 at home against Tampa Bay and either Baker Mayfield or Kyle Trask, they are going to absolutely confuse and destroy the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Ted, I was happier with this defense in this preseason game than all the Viking games last year.
Yes. I was too. I mean, it's such a refreshing change. And look, and you saw a couple times when they were bringing a blitz, 6-7 guys. There was a guy open in the middle of the field, and they got in Seattle got some big plays. And I get it. I will accept that because the Vikings are trying to dictate the tempo to the other team, and they're trying to pressure the quarterback, and they're trying to disrupt the play, as opposed to giving up big plays last year when they just kind of seemed to play this cover 4 shell contain and don't let anybody get huge yardage. I'll take what Flores is doing 14 times out of 5 over what Donatel was doing last year.
That's an amen, Toonses. Yeah. Amen. You're right, Ted.
So a lot more good than bad. Good plays. Had some guys shine out tonight, guys that kind of disappointed us that we talked about. But we'll keep tabs on them as we go through the preseason and head towards the regular season.
When's the next game? Next Friday or something?
Next Saturday, I believe. Yeah, the next 2 games are on Saturday. They're at home next week against Tennessee, I believe. So
thanks again for everybody showing up tonight. I know it's late. We appreciate it.
Yeah, it's late. It's late at night, and we got 130 people in here watching us talk about the first preseason game on a Thursday night, Friday morning. That's pretty wild to me. Thank you so much for sacrificing your sleep and spending time with us. For my good buddy Drew and Toonses in the background, and the absent but present in our hearts, Christopher Gates. I'm your humble host, Ted Glover. We will see you soon. We're going to record. We're going to be recording, and we'll have a show out next, not this weekend, but next Saturday in time for we'll be previewing the Titans game. Yeah. So for Drew, for our buddy Chris, for Ruby,
meow.
Skull Vikings.
Good night, Ted. Meow.
Good night, Ted. Meow.
Saucer of milk, table 2.